Good morning again. So, as I mentioned earlier, I am currently a seminarian at Meadville Lombard Theological School, which is one of two Unitarian Universalist identified divinity schools in the country. I love seminary. I love my colleagues there. I am so grateful for the privilege I receive as part of my studies to be able to carve out time each week to be in conversation with other people who are not only on a similar journey as I am as we direct our lives toward ministry, but who also ask similar questions of themselves and of the world. One of the questions that comes up often for all of us is a question that we've all been asked several times as we have embarked on our formation journeys. This is a question that we often struggle to articulate the answer to, even though we all tend to agree that the answer feels like it lives deep in our bodies and our hearts, even if we can't readily form a sentence that explains it just as easily as we feel it. It's a question, I'll bet, that many of you have been asked as well. And that question is, why church? In a world where our options for community and connection are vast and varied, and where we all have either experienced or seen documented evidence of harm perpetuated by different religious institutions, why choose church each Sunday? Why choose to become a member of a congregation? Why choose a religious life? Well, we are UUs, so our answers to this question, I know, without any attempt at research, will be collectively as varied as the number of souls that fill up this sanctuary. But I've been practicing my answer a bit, and I'll tell you that my answer isn't just an answer to the why church question. There's a finer point on that. The answer is actually to the question, why this church? Why Unitarian Universalism? Why First Unitarian Universalist Church of Nashville? As an organization, as a community, as a congregation, we face a defining challenge. We can be, with respect, deep respect for all communities of care, we can be just another place for people to meet and connect and spend their time. Or we can offer an alternative way of living with meaning and purpose. For me, the answer to the why church question is that I intend to live a life that is in line with my values, and I need help to learn how to do that. I intend to be part of a movement towards building a new way of living and a new world that I will likely never see, where, to quote one of my favorite calls to worship by Rebecca Edmiston Lang, the ordinary is sanctified, the human is celebrated, and the compassionate is expected. I choose church, I choose Unitarian Universalism because it is here that I find co-conspirators, comrades, and prophets who are committed to building this world and who are ready to practice it right here and right now. We are a people who show up. We are a people who love fiercely. And we are a people with an abiding hope that resists despair. This, my beloveds, is why I choose church. And we know that if there was ever a time when we need to show up, it is now. If there was ever a moment where our vision for the future and when our commonly shared values of justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, generosity, and love were needed by the world, it is now. We come to church to better learn how we can live these values out loud. We come to church to practice living into our integrity and to gain the fuel we need to better live our love out loud and share with those who need it most. As I mentioned earlier in the service, tomorrow we celebrate Transgender Day of Visibility, a day on which since 2009 has been set aside to celebrate the lives and contributions of trans people, while also drawing attention to the disproportionate levels of poverty, discrimination, and violence the community faces compared to cisgendered people. This is a day when we lift up and celebrate those among us who have looked at themselves, looked at their lives, and made the choice to fulfill the prophecy they understood for themselves, which is to step into the world unencumbered from what others attempted to prescribe for them, and for them about how they would move in the world, and instead show themselves to us fully and authentically. To those among us who are walking that path, we are so glad you are here, not just in this sanctuary, not just in this community, but on this earth. Your wholeness is a divine gift to all of us. No matter what any voices from the halls of power try to convince us of, we will never separate from you, and we will never stop being thankful for the gift of your presence and your spirit. As an interdependent community, we are not whole without you, and we will never stop fighting alongside you and for you. The occasion of Trans Day of Visibility in this year, when we find ourselves in the thick of a fight for transgender rights and visibility that has grown more fraught, more difficult, and more unflinchingly necessary than it has ever been, it has me thinking about something I witnessed this past summer at our Unitarian Universalist Association's General Assembly, when those of us assembled to do the business of our association witnessed an extraordinary moment of what it can look like to make our love visible in a moment of difficulty, and to aim that love at those gathered among us who, in that moment, needed and deserved it, and our solidarity deeply. So one of the orders of business for that day was for us as delegates to hold a vote to approve a business resolution of the UUA, the Unitarian Universalist Association, affirming that, and I quote the title of the resolution here, "Embracing transgender, non-binary, intersex, and gender-diverse people is a fundamental expression of our UU values." Ultimately, this business resolution passed by an incredibly wide margin, which did not surprise most of us. But before a vote could take place, or any vote can take place in that forum, there is a time for delegates to speak both for and against the passage of the matter at hand. Now, I went into this period of debate not that concerned, but pretty quickly that changed. Because a small number of people present, especially compared to the vast number of people waiting in the pro line, but a small number of people present began arguing against the measure. Again, the number of people who chose to do this, especially compared to the number of us in the Zoom chat, this was all online, and in the pro line, it was very small, but still, it was shocking. And it was sad, and it was hurtful and confusing to hear sentiments expressed in a gathering of our faith community that spouted debunked scientific reports about the dangers of gender-affirming care for youth, or who wanted to argue that we should not single out our trans siblings for any special resolution aimed at their support. Emotions rose quickly among many. I can remember my chest feeling tight and a lump rising in my throat, and I know I wasn't alone in this. There was tension that you could even feel over Zoom. There was a collective sense that we were holding our breath. Harm had been done here, and what happened next would be critical. At the end of each debate period before a vote at General Assembly, the person who initially introduced the measure is given the opportunity to also speak for the last 90 seconds of the discussion. In this case, the person who had the opportunity to take that last 90 seconds was the Reverend Jacaren Olaoya Bell, who was a trustee on the UUA board and who had only recently, at the time of the meeting, been ordained. Like, we're talking within weeks. The moderator of the debate, who was obviously emotional after hearing the conversation, introduced Reverend Jacaren, who proceeded to deliver one of the most beautiful moments of public love that I have ever witnessed, and that we're going to try and show you here in just a second. Now imagine, as you watch this, that there were hundreds and hundreds of people witnessing this, all of which who had just collectively been through an upsetting unveiling of anti-trans rhetoric among our own people, in our own sacred space.
Speaker time for 90 seconds. To my trans, non-binary, intersex, or gender diverse beloveds, lean in, lean in. I love you. I love you. I love you. Please do not leave this space without feeling my love and the love of others who see you as divine. I love you. You are divine. I love you. You are holy. I love you. You know who you are. I love you. You are worthy of being whoever you need to be to survive and thrive in this world. I love you, and I will say it for 50 seconds if I need to. I love you. 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 Do not leave this space without knowing that you are loved. If you are ever in doubt, call me, email me, text me, because what we will not do in this space is let you go another moment believing anything other than the fact that you are loved deeply just as you are. I love you. I love you. I love you.
My friends, this is who we are called to be. This is how we live our values. This is how we interrupt moments of hatred, moments where any among us are being marginalized and whose experiences are being diminished. In this time and in this state where law after law is raining down on us that would push our trans, non-binary, intersex, and gender non-conforming siblings into the realm of the invisible, this is how we push back. We show up. We love openly. We love loud. We wrap our arms around each other and we celebrate the wholeness and the divinity of each of us. This is who we are called to be. This is why church. This is the world we are building. In an interview with UU World magazine after the fact, Reverend Jakaran said in discussing the incident, "We have to come from here, from our hearts. And so that means we have to stop debating. We have to stop prioritizing the right of speech for someone who is spewing hate. We can't do that anymore. We should never have been doing it. We have to center love, and we center love by no matter what we hear, no matter the hate, whatever. We have to be willing to change the focus." So my question for all of us, for myself, is how are we doing this? In this week, when we celebrate Transgender Day of Visibility, what are the ways that we are working to change the focus? As that business resolution passed, we committed as an association, among other things, and I quote again from the resolution, we committed to condemn all anti-transgender legislation, demanding the repeal of anti-transgender laws, and work to block additional such bills, and to partnering with local and state organizations led by transgender, non-binary, and intersex people to advocate for their needs and interests. We are indeed a gentle, angry people. We are indeed singing for our lives, fighting for our lives. These times are trying and things appear bleak, but here together in this congregation, in this movement, we do have a hope that resists despair. We have a love that insists that we continue. And I am so glad that you are here, that you are a part of it, each and every one of you. You are holy, you are whole, and you are called to be a source of love in this world that stands against derision, hatred, greed, and erasure. In the hymn, "We Are" by Sweet Honey in the Rock, we sing together the reminder that each of us is the manifestation of the promise of the universe and the answer to the prayers of all of our ancestors. Our values call us to recognize this in everyone, even ourselves, even when it is hard. Remind yourselves, each of you, that this is who you are. And when you next talk to your neighbor, remember that this is who they are too. We are seekers of truth, and keepers of faith, makers of peace, wisdom of ages. We are the Spirit of God. And as we sing this song together and hear the mention of different genders across the spectrum, I also invite you to think about those spaces in between and those who inhabit them, and how we all inhabit this world together and interconnected. I love you. May it be so.